the battle that created a poet. He wasn't a soldier. He was a nurse, and his poetry captured the true cost of the Civil War. This was the story of Wslt Whitman, a poet in New York City, whose life was about to be changed forever by a war he never fought. Wslt, a poet of the people, lived far from the front lines. But the war was never far from his mind. One day, a letter arrived with news that made his heart sink. His brother, George, had been wounded at the Battle of Fredericksburg. He traveled to Washington, D.C., a city overflowing with the wounded. He found George recovering, but his eyes were opened to the suffering all around him. The hospitals were not just buildings. They were vast, quiet fields of pain. Wslt could not leave. He felt a deep call to help. He became a wound dresser, a volunteer nurse, spending his days and nights moving from cot to cot, offering comfort, a kind word, and a cool drink of water. He listened to their stories, tales of bravery and terror, of homes left behind and futures uncertain. He was not just tending to their wounds, he was tending to their souls, collecting their words and their silence. In his pocket he carried a small notebook. Every day he filled its pages with observations, with the names of the men he met, and with fragments of their last words. The ink was a record of the war's true cost. The hospital wards were his new study. The groans of the dying and the whispers of the living were his new music. The words he wrote down were not just notes, they were the seeds of a new kind of poetry. He saw that the true battle was not on the field, but in the hearts of the men who fought. It was a battle against pain, against loneliness, and against the finality of death. When he returned to New York, he was no longer just the poet he had been. He was a witness. He was a historian of the human heart. His hands, once used to hold a pen, had held the hands of dying men. And so, from the quiet suffering of 1,000 hospital cots, a new kind of poetry was born, a poetry of compassion, of truth, and of the profound, heartbreaking cost of war.